Hey folks, welcome back to the Darren Harris Podcast. I am, of course, your host, Darren Harris, the man with the plan. That's right. Welcome back. It's episode 14, man. That's right. I made it 14 episodes, y'all. That's right. Here I am. I'm here to stay. Trying to do it as big as I can for everybody out there. You know, hopefully people are listening. Hopefully people are liking. I'd like to see some feedback. If you guys got feedback, I will take any feedback you have. I just want to get better. Make it good for you guys. So today, episode 14. Today, episode 14 is a tribute to all the fathers out there. This is a really, really important podcast to me, a very special podcast to me, because fatherhood is something that really should not be taken lightly, but a lot of times in this country it is. And I want to shed a little bit of light on fathers. You know, I want to give them a little bit of praise, a shout out, and, you know, kind of, you know, articulate some of the things that we go through as fathers, you know, single fathers, stepfathers, you know, whatever it is, adopted fathers. Hats off to all of you, all fathers, man, all of you dudes. So even two homes with two fathers, you know what I'm saying? Hats off to all of you. So anybody who shouldered it up and picked it up for a child, you know, even a child that wasn't theirs, even if it was theirs, you know, I love you all, fellas, and much respect to you. You are all kings. So with that being said, I got a few more things I want to get to first. And before we get to the meat and potatoes of everything, today we're going to go ahead and give some shout outs. And I'm going to go ahead once again. Today, today's shout out goes to all the fathers, all the daddies, and all the poppies out there. That's right, all the fathers, daddies, and poppies. Today, the shout out is for y'all, man. I love y'all. Like I said, I think that anybody who takes on that challenge, I got a couple of friends, man, especially, man. I got a buddy named JP Pomponio, man. That dude right there, and another dude named David Peterson. Them dudes right there, man, they get the Father of the Year award. They're both single fathers who have raised their children since they were children, never without having any they had custody of their children, and they raised their children like a mother would raise their children, except for they were. So hats off to those dudes. I got a couple of other buddies that picked up the slack, you know, with some children that weren't theirs, you know what I mean? And, you know, for real, I love y'all, man. I love y'all, and I love the women who love you and treat you guys with respect. So shout out to all the fathers out there. Moving on to next, today's Dope Shit Award. I'm trying to get come on now, y'all. Today's Dope Shit Award. I kind of enjoy this. I enjoy this a lot because this dude basically said, fuck Russia. You know what I'm saying? I might be Russian, but fuck y'all. So there's this guy, right? This guy's name is Dmitry Murtov. Dmitry Murtov is a Russian journalist. This Russian journalist, back in, I think it was 2021, he won the Nobel Prize. You know, he won the Nobel Prize for journalism, which is great. Well, this guy, I think it was a few days ago, this guy sold it. He sold his Nobel Prize for a whopping record-breaking $103.5 million. And I think that's dope. And the reason he did it, and that's not the dope part. The reason he did it was to help displaced children and orphans in the Ukraine, to give them a better life because of war-torn the Ukrainians, you know, the things happening in the Ukraine currently. So, and not only that, when you win the prize, right, they give you, as a gift, they give you $500,000 in cash. That dude donated that shit too. He donated his Nobel Prize. I guess he got it from, basically, y'all could all kiss my ass. This guy sold his prize and then took the proceeds from that and donated it. And then he took the $500,000 cash prize that he got and put that on top of that, totaling a whopping $104 million that he donated. Man, that dude is dope shit. Do you hear me? There was another guy who actually, he sold his also. He sold his prize. There was a guy back in 1962. Him and another dude discovered the structure of DNA, and it got him the Nobel Peace Prize. But he only sold his. He sold it, but he only sold his for $4.6 million. So, and that was back in 2014. So I guess my man wish he would have waited a couple of years longer. Maybe he could have, capitalize a little bit better. But either way it goes, hats off to my man, Dmitry Murtov. I think what you did for these kids is awesome, and other people need to follow suit and look around and see that that's the right thing to do. So hats off again to you, my man, and you are the recipient of this week's Dope Shit Award. Moving right along. Today's Earbudz, my man. What am I listening to? You know what I'm listening to? To keep going with the theme, and I did this on purpose. I am listening to Big Daddy Kane. I've been listening to Big Daddy Kane for I guess I listened to like Long Live Kane. That was my favorite Big Daddy Kane album. He had a few more, but Long Live Kane, the first one, was probably the greatest album that in my opinion, from him. It came out the year that I graduated high school, which was back in 1988, and it had a bunch of bangers on it. It had Raw, Ain't No Half Steppin', Set It Off, man. Just a bunch of good cuts, like old good hip hop, man. Like, I know a lot of the kids that listen today, they probably won't get it. They probably, that's corny, that's whack. But I'm gonna tell you what, man. If it was not for cats like Big Daddy Kane and Rakim and KRS-One, I'm sorry, you motherfuckers wouldn't even be existing. So, I think that it's long overdue that our forefathers of hip-hop get a little bit of recognition and a little bit of playtime. I mean, he did come out with some other ones. He had, in 1991, he had Prince of Darkness. In 94, he had Daddy's Home. 2001, The Man, the Icon. But then a fan turned around in 2021 and remixed The Man, the Icon full album, and it turned out dope as shit, because the dude basically put a bunch of hot new beats with the acapellas and basically brought it up to 2021. And I'll tell you what, man, Kane, if you're listening, Daddy, man, yo, it's time for you to get back behind the mic, homie. You know what I'm saying? Ra out there doing it, you know what I mean? So it's time for you to get back out there, homie, and hit the streets, man. We need some good music from Big Daddy. So if you guys can, if you have never heard any Big Daddy tracks, man, Big Daddy Kane tracks, and just for anybody who doesn't know, Kane stands for King Asiatic Nobody's Equal. So I would definitely, if you are a fan or a student of hip hop, that's definitely worth visiting. All of the albums are worth visiting, but like I said, Long Live Kane, that's probably, it's the first one. It's the one you should start with. So. And that is going to do it for Earbudz this week. So I'm going to take a quick, fast break, and when I come back, we will have the strain of the week. Hey folks, today's program is being brought to you by Your Pleasures Erotic Health and Wellness Boutique. Your Pleasures has a wide variety of adult educational materials, top-notch adult novelties and clothing, real-world dating and relationship advice, and more. Pleasures, that's Your Pleasures, not only focuses on erotic pleasure and satisfaction, we aim to educate people about the health and wellness benefits of intimacy. We're here to prove that sexuality is not naughty, it's necessary. So stop by Your Pleasures, that's ur-pleasures.com, and see for yourself. That's yourpleasures.com. Hey folks, welcome back to the podcast. Thanks for joining me. Today we are talking about fathers. We are talking about daddies, poppies, fathers, whatever you want to call them. And how great they are, how great they can be. I know I had a really good dad. He was really stern, but I had a good dad. But before we start talking about all of that, I got the strain of the week that I want to deliver to you guys and let you know what it is. This week, the strain of the week is Dream and Sour. And it got some pretty good reviews from Leafly. It didn't get not as many as I thought it should have gotten. But me personally, I thought it really did. It did, like medically, it did what it was supposed to do. It helps with depression and anxiety and fatigue, and it did all of that shit. It knocked it out of the box. It made me energetic. I really didn't, do anything, or it didn't make me, want to go clean the house. It just kept me up. It just kept me peppy and lighthearted and jokey and talkative, and it just made me happy. It helped me, not focus in so much on the problems and the issues that I go through daily, and it it was just mild. It was just a really good time. It was really heady, so you know it's there, and it is 100% pure. It's a straight sativa, so it's not gonna knock you out. It's a cross between Blue Dream and Jack Sour. It's like I said, it's 100% it's 100% sativa, and it's really pretty bud, man. It has like a lot of like frosty keef on it, man. It's really, really dope, man. So it has the flavor of apricot. It's super pungent, tastes really good. So if you are able to pick it up, I highly, again, like I said the past few times, I'm not going to give you anything that's going to be bullshit or whack for you. So I highly recommend it. If you can find it, jump on Leafly and see if you can find it. It's called Dream and Sour. And yeah. So I'm going to take another break really fast, and when we come back, we will knock it out of the box with what's popping today, which is fathers. I got a couple of guests today, a couple of special guests today. Actually, I got 3 guests today. 3 people are going to join me today, and we're going to have a discussion about, fathers from different perspectives. So stay tuned for my special guests, my special surprise guests. And yeah, it's going to be awesome. So I'll be back in a minute. Let me pay some bills. I'll be back. Hey, folks, welcome back to the Deron Harris podcast. I am your host, Deron Harris, and I am joined by some esteemed guests, very close, near and dear to my heart. Of course, we are joined by my wife, Yvonne, but we are also joined by her daughter, Annalise Taylor, which is also my new stepdaughter. And we are also joined by my son, Michael. And Michael and Annalise when we got married, they were our maid of honor and best man at our wedding. So we have our children on today for the Deron Harris podcast, and today we are going to be talking about fathers and the different experiences that we've all had as far as our fathers are concerned. Baby, you're muted.
Yeah, I did that on purpose so that the kids can talk.
Well, nobody's talking yet.
I know, but hi, everyone.
Let's go ahead and get out jump on it early. So I would start with I'll go ahead and start with you, Annalise. As far as fathers are concerned, what would have been your ideal situation as far as your father was concerned?
Well, let's see. Well, my parents obviously are split up. So I would have hoped to have a father who is still very much in my life, involved in a lot. It doesn't matter if we're living together or, I see him every other weekend or no matter what, just show up when you can, show up
just around
when I need you to. Yeah. Right. Because that's kind of, I feel like what I wanted from a father was the very bare minimum. And then everything else kind of comes after that. But that's pretty much my ideal.
What was your experience? I mean, first of all, how old are you?
I'm 20. I just turned 20 in November.
Okay.
So I would say for years I've been dealing with, things with issues with my dad. Not everything was bad, but not everything was good. So I would definitely put my experience as somebody who had their father in their life when he wanted to be in my life. I mean, that's the best I can explain it. Before going into detail, there was just a lot, I could ask him for. Even today, I ask him for something and it's still very challenging to get the help or, even have a conversation with him without me feeling that I need to remove myself from the situation. So, he's not the ideal father. Sometimes I don't even claim him as my father. I'll talk about him by first name and everybody knows who he is by first name. And, a lot of the people closest to me have seen how he is. So they understand what I've gone through and they, they try not to pry or, they understand, they sympathize with my situation. So if it's that big where everybody else can see it around me, it's kind of like, okay, yeah, we're not the issue here. I've always struggled with feeling like maybe we're the issue, me and my mother are the issue. No, it's not
Right.
us. So that's my experience with him. It's not been a good one. The memories I do have with him that are good, I was probably like what, of the ages from like 5 to 10, and then
Sure.
everything after that is not all that. So
I
yeah.
understand. Well, I'm terribly sorry about that. Um, um, I am. It kind of bothers me because I want to be involved. I want to be closer to my children, but it's for a long time, and I'm not saying anything. It's just been made too hard for me. So when I hear stories of people whose fathers, aren't around, or who don't really try as hard or don't try at all, that kind of makes me mad because I try everything that I possibly can, and I run up into a lot of brick walls a lot.
Hmm.
So it does get a little bit frustrating for me, but
But I feel like the first step to not wanting to be an absent person in your child's life is what you just said, wanting to be involved. You
right,
have that need to be involved in your child's life. A lot of people don't have that, where they feel like they should be in their child's life, or they feel like 24/7, what is my child doing? Like, I
right,
feel like a lot of people don't have that. But if you are even taking that step to say like, I want to be involved, it breaks my heart that people are like this, you're already on the like right side of things, as that's how I feel about it,
right,
for
right.
sure.
Well, I mean, this guy down here in the bottom right, he can tell you. That's my man right there.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't introduce everybody. I'm sorry. Actually, I think I did.
you did. Yeah.
I did. I'm all over the place. Mike, same question for you as far as is I mean, and not for nothing, son, be candid. I mean, what are some things that you think that I could do to be a better father for you? Because not for nothing, my main goal, my main purpose in life is to try and be the best father to you and your brother as I absolutely can. But as you know, there are a lot of obstacles and circumstances in the way.
Yeah.
But what would you like to see as far as our relationship is concerned?
To be honest, and this is kind of on the both of us, I think, not on just you, but on me too. Like I like for us to talk more. Like when we do hang out, like when you come to get me, oh, you always have fun. It's always great. I always come back with a smile on my face, and I can't wait to go back.
Right.
But it's like sometimes in between, then like we call and we talk, and I just wish we did it a little more. Like when I
Absolutely.
got COVID, when I got sick, you called me, you made sure I was okay, and I love that. I just I wish it happened more often. Like I said, that's partly me too. I need to message you and text you and call you and say, hey, how's it going and all that. But yeah, besides that, I feel like you do. You strive to be there for me. You ask me how my day is going, how I am. You want to make time to see me. You want to come get me, and that means a lot to me. That you really do fight to see me. To hang
You're
out
my
with me, to
man,
spend
dude.
time with me.
You're
And
my
then I
man.
yeah, I know, and I love you, man. I love you, and I really cannot tell you how much that means to me. That because I've got friends who they've got fathers and stuff, but it's like, and it's not like their parents are split up. Their parents are together, but it's like they're not as close with their father,
Right.
right? But we're super close. I love
Yeah,
you to
we
death,
have
man.
we have fun. I mean,
Yeah,
one of the
because the
things that
two of
was
us, we're
always a
basically the same
priority.
person.
One of the things that was always a priority for me is to make you feel comfortable because I mean, as you know, it's always been made to feel like, I'm not this responsible person, even though that
Yeah.
I am. But that happens to a lot of fathers, and that's neither here nor there. But um one of the things that like you said, I want that more. I want to
Yeah.
be able to contact you more, but you're young and I know you're busy a lot, and a lot of times I call you, but that's that's no excuse. I'm not trying to make any excuses, but yeah, I absolutely should be a little more diligent. I have a lot of things going on, but that shouldn't be any kind of excuse to call you on a more frequent basis. I mean, I guess we text a lot. We text a lot, throughout the course of
Yeah.
the week, but sometimes, like you said, it's a few and far between, or a long time before we actually talk on the phone. And I would actually like to be able to talk to you more frequently. But sometimes, I'm not really sure what's going on in your house. So a lot of times I don't want to, I don't want to rock the boat or upset the apple cart, for lack of a better phrase. So I try and let you do whatever it is that you're doing. And I know that you're busy, and I know that and I know that you think about me. And now I'm sure that, you're on my mind, you and your brother on my mind 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And now you also too, Annalise, you are also on my mind, and so is Marcus on my mind, and because you guys are all my children now, and I want you guys to understand, and you also, Annalise, I want you to understand that I'm your dad if you need me to be. You know what I'm saying? And anything that and just like I'll tell my own kids, well, you are my child now, but I would do anything for you. You know what I'm saying? So if there's anything that I can do within my power, I mean, anything that you need, you can ask me, like you were asking your own dad, and I will bend over backwards to get it for you. And likewise to you also, Mike, and also for Marcus and Deron. Those are the other two that are not joining us tonight. But maybe one day we can all join on some Brady Bunch and discuss some family. But I do want you to know that it is never my intention to be out of touch with you, as for long. It's never my intention, and it is always my first intention to have you understand that you are a priority for me. You know what I'm saying? I know that there's a lot of things that have happened between me and your mom that we really won't discuss a whole lot in detail, but a lot of those things have prevented me. And again, it's not an excuse, but a lot of those things have prevented me from being there for you like I really want to be. So I don't let that stop me. I don't let any of the obstacles stop me. I smile and I try and see you as often as I can. And like I said, thank goodness for my wife, who absolutely is an advocate for you being here more frequently, and for us connecting as a family, as frequently as we can. And I want you to know that you are always welcomed here, and Yvonne loves you like you were her son as well. We talk about you constantly, and also you, Annalise. We talk about we talk about the two of you more than we talk about the other two.
Yeah, we ain't worried about the other
Favorites.
ones. They're gonna
We
be
ain't worried about
okay.
their ass.
That's funny. When Mike asked me, when he was supposed to put his name for the Zoom, I put favorite son. He was like, I can't do that. She
You're the
would
only
do
daughter.
it. Yeah, well,
No way.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm the only girl.
I've as far as like my oldest son, now I've had some issues that I don't know if I know you do, babe, but I don't know if you guys know in great detail. But my oldest son was kept and hidden from me for 9 years, and I didn't know where he was. But and any money that, or anything, any gifts or anything that I would send to him, I either had to send to his mother's job or her mother's job, and she would not. She would, and her excuse was, "Oh, I didn't know what you were going to do to him." Which, my response was always like, "Well, what do you think I'm going to do to my own child?" You know what I mean? But mothers are very protective, and I get it. But a lot of times, mothers need to understand that fathers are also very protective as well, and fathers have a right and deserve to be in a child's life as much as the mother. And when mothers alienate the fathers, they don't. It doesn't really hurt me. It's not hurting me because, whatever happened between us is gone. You know what I mean? So it doesn't really hurt me. But what it does is it hurts the relationship between, the son and the father. And eventually, in Deron's case, he began to harbor resentment against his mother, so he wouldn't obey her. But the one thing that I would always do is I would always tell him, respect your mother, respect your grandmother. You know what I'm saying? That was the biggest thing for me. It was respect your mother, respect your grandmother. Anytime they were with me, even Mike, anytime he was with me, I would ask him, did you call your mother? But so many times on the other side of that, like Mike, nobody ever tells me if you're sick. No, nobody ever calls me if you have something special. Nobody ever says, hey, he did this in school, or, hey, your son, I just want you to know he did this. You'd be really proud of him. And that's been both my kids. Nobody's ever done that. That's never happened to me. And I guess I'll go ahead and let the cat out of the bag. I owe an absorbent amount of child support. And one of the reasons I owe a lot of child support is because I told my oldest son's mother at one time. I said, you will not get a dime from me until you let me see my son, period, which I shouldn't have done at the same time, but I did it out of principle because I was not able to see my son. She wasn't letting me see my son, and she was just making it, difficult, at every turn. I mean, I've had my entire bank account garnished, and missed my rent, and been evicted, but nobody cared about that. I mean, and that's what I'm talking about. A lot of times people don't care about what happens to the fathers, in these things. I mean, I'm a upstanding citizen. I'm not a criminal, but because I owe so much child support, I'm always getting my license suspended or, subpoenaed to go to court for hearings, for arrears, and sometimes like now I'm not, I left my profession because of the stress and anxiety that it provides for me, that it gives me. And I don't really have anything to do. I take medication now, but I got a letter in the mail that says there's a child support hearing here in a few months. Well, the month after next. And, with all these stipulations that could happen to me if, either if I don't show up or so on and so forth. And, and this is for my oldest son. Deron's 25. I'm still paying child support for him, and he's 25 years old, and that's, I try and pay, and I never had it adjusted because I always felt that it was my obligation to pay for him, and it was my obligation to pay for him. But at the same time, I feel like I was robbed of a lot of the time with my son because of that. And Mike, I'm not saying anything negative, but I feel like that with you also. I feel like that I'm being robbed of a lot of time because of monetary compensation, or they make it becomes a stipulation. If everybody is getting their money, then I'm a good guy. But the minute that they stop getting their money, I'm the worst person on the face of the earth. And that's, that contributes to, the condition that I have, because it just makes me feel that, am I doing all that I can, even though I'm out here killing myself? I mean, am I doing all that I can? I mean, and that's the thing. Not until recently, I didn't get a lot of validation, but recently I started getting validation from my mom and my dad and my wife, and, and you also, Annalise, and you also, Mike, and, having your brother call me, that means so much to me, because it's so long, your brother didn't call me. Nobody calls me, I mean? And I sit here, sometimes I've spent birthdays by myself. I've spent holidays by myself. I think me and you have spent one of your birthdays together, and you're 13. Me and Deron have spent 2 of his birthdays together. If that, if that, what I'm saying? He's 25, but nobody says anything about that. I mean? So, babe, we had a discussion, and you had told me that Marcus's father and Annalise's father, you did not put on child support. And I just want to know what was your motivation and why?
Okay, I'll start with baby daddy number one. That's Marcus's dad. He actually, I didn't put him on. I mean, we were married, we got a divorce, and in the divorce papers, it was asked, who's getting custody. And I had full custody of Marcus, but no child support. And the reason I decided to do that, but I'm going to go with this one first. Sure. It's because I wanted the relationship between my son and his dad to be more important than money.
Right.
But yeah, I get it. I know what child support is. It's for, to help out. It's you get this money and it goes towards a child, whatever. I did not want money to be the motivating factor. It is getting to know your child, which is what he did. He's been a great dad. He's always been around. If I needed him, even after the divorce, we were good. He actually became my best friend in a sense. He was always there. Actually, he even helped with Annalise at times, meaning he didn't help. It's just on her birthday, he'll always show up with a gift, or, he cared, because that's also his, it's Marcus's sister. Now, as for her dad, we have joint custody. Let's start there. So that's different. Joint custody is a little different. And yes, he was, I did take him to I didn't take him to child support, but when you file for custody, they do ask, do you want child support. At the beginning, I was like, you know what, let's go ahead and
Right.
let's do child support. And like a few months in and out, he was giving me issues, well, basically saying, like, I'm not probably gonna have all this, you're not gonna get all this money. So I had gone to court, and when I went to court, at the time, she was young. At the time, he owed me a lot. I'm going to
Right.
say, and it was way over 50K at that time, and she was young again, and it was
Right.
in the career that he was in. He was making good money, but also what I decided to do is waive all that in front of the judge and tell him I don't want it. Why? One, because I don't want to be in the courts the rest of my life, in and out of
Right.
the courts. I don't want to deal with that. Everybody's all in your business, and it's about her. It wasn't about me. It's never been about me. It's
Right.
not about me. Once I had my kids, it doesn't become about us. It becomes about them. And so in that,
Absolutely.
I wanted him to build a relationship, and same for her. I wanted them to build this relationship. It's money, I feel like people will not. I feel like parents, when it doesn't work out, the other parent usually just likes to shower. And maybe not all parents, but in
Right.
my experience is, okay, you know what? I'm just going to shower my child every time I see, and this is accurate. Every time I see her, I'm just going to shower her with gifts. But I kept always saying that's not how you do it.
Right.
You gotta see her. We got joint custody, and again, like she said, everything wasn't bad. Everything
Right.
wasn't bad, but it became bad because he just didn't.
He didn't
He
hold up
didn't
his end of
find
the
the
bargain.
time. Yeah, he didn't. And then as for child support, to me, this is how I see it. How about if he dies tomorrow, right? I got to
Right.
still pick it up, right? I still got to figure it out and keep going and keep going. So if you're not around, and if you're not around and you're not giving me all this money or whatever, and on top of that, it's very controlling. In my situation, it was a controlling.
Well, yeah. Well, I think
You
the
want
child
this
support.
money.
I
Mhm.
think the child support that like a lot of women use the child support system to punish the men that they're with because they're still angry or they don't like them or whatever the circumstance is. They use the system to punish them.
I think so, but I think some need it.
Absolutely.
There's nothing wrong with
Not
child support. I'm
not at
not saying
all.
there's a
Not at all.
problem, but it's how you use it. Are you using to control the man, or vice
Right.
versa? Because I know women that pay child support as well. So
Right. Me too.
like if it's for controlling, then you're doing it all wrong. But if you're
Right.
doing it, if you get this money and you put it towards the child the way you're supposed to, whatever, I hope you're not getting your nails done and doing all kinds of stuff. Or like they say, it's my prerogative of what I do with the money,
Right.
but really it should be going towards the child. That's just my
Right.
opinion.
And I do understand that. Okay. We have 5 minutes left.
Whoa.
Yeah. It goes quick. We got 5 minutes left. So I wanted to know if there was anything that you could say to your father, Annalise. What would it be? Anything.
I feel like a lot of the stuff that I've wanted to say to him, I've gotten
Okay.
to the age where, I'll just say it, my respect for him is no longer existent. So a lot of the things I say to him is what I've been wanting to say for years. So there's not really anything new that I want to say to him, but
Sure.
if this was like the last thing he would ever hear from me, it would be like, you were a terrible person as a father and just a person in general, but you know,
Right.
hopefully it's a good thing nobody else, I'm his only child, so it's a good thing that nobody else had to deal with that
Right.
in the sense that he was a father. But that everything else he's heard from my mouth, and we've gotten into it, and he's sat there and he's like berated me about it, but there's nothing else I can tell him because it's a waste of time on my end.
Sure. Mike, same question.
It's a good question. I
If
probably
there
say
was,
just thank
if
you, man. Really, just thank you for being there. Because like I love you, man, and I don't think the way I am today, my life, the person I am, I wouldn't be that person without you. There's no way that I wouldn't. You taught me so many things. You really been. I know. I don't know if you know it, but you've really been such an inspiration and such a big part of me and my life and the man who I am today and the man who I want to be. And I just can't thank you enough for it, man. For so many great memories I have with you, for really all of it. I can't even get it into words because it's just, I've known you
your whole
my
life.
whole life, obviously. But look, I think the very first time I remember meeting you, I think I was like 5.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think I was 5. It's the very first time I remember. And after that, I just, I had so much fun whenever I came over. I remember the house at Winter Park. I have so many good memories from there.
Yeah.
I have so many great things we did. The first time you took me Universal, that was great.
Yeah.
I love Universal now. I love that place with all my heart. And you took me to that place for the very first time, and I had so much fun. I can't thank you enough for that. And I just got so many memories of us going to see movies and going out to eat and laughing and joking, playing games. Thank you.
Just hanging around.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that, son, and it's my pleasure, and it's going to continue.
Yeah.
So
I'm almost 14, basically, but
babe, we got a minute and a half left. In a minute, can you tell me what you would like to see in the future, as far as I'm concerned, as far as the parenting of our children?
I would like to get a mansion and have them all move in with us.
Yeah, my name is Elmer J. Fudd, a millionaire. I own a mansion and a yacht. Well, I mean, hopefully if people start listening to our podcast, we may
get rich
make
quick.
some money. I do want to, I got a minute and 20 seconds left. I want to thank everybody. I want to thank all of you. I love each and every one of you. And, I want to be a good husband. And of course I want to be a good father. So, with you guys' help, with all of you, with your help, hopefully that can make me, that can give me something to smile about. So I don't have so much issue, so many issues with depression or any of that. And I will say that because of you guys, and especially, the two children here, you guys, it helps with that. You being here, Mike, helps with that, because I don't feel like I've lost something or like I've missed something. And you, Annalise, I've never had a daughter. You know what I mean? I've never had a daughter. And now I got somebody I need to that listen. And
welcome to the dark side.
I just want to tell you thank you. And babe, like I said, I'm going to try and be the best husband I can for you and the best father to your kids I possibly can be. Okay.
Okay.
All right, folks. I'm going to take a quick, fast break. And when I come back, we will have relationship goals. All right, folks. Thank you very much for tuning in. We are back, and that was great. I just enjoyed every minute sitting there talking to my kids and my wife about fatherhood. It's hard. Fathers deal with a lot of craziness, man. We deal with a lot of crazy shit. We really do. I mean, sometimes, it's a tough job, man. We work long hours, so a lot of times we don't get to see our kids. My son lives in a different town than I do. So, I have 2 sons. I have one that lives on the West Coast over in California. I rarely see him, And I've had some issues, coming up, with his mom and the way that things turned out with him, So, I have some that, and I will be honest. A lot of it is the reason that I do have the depression that I have, and the anxiety that I have. A lot of it stems from dealing with issues surrounding my children, and I work diligently every day to try and put myself in a good headspace so that I can push forward and still try and be a good dad to my boys. I love them with all my heart. And it's difficult for me a lot because I my oldest son, I didn't know where he was for 9 years. he was kept from me for 9 years, and I did not know where he was or what to do. I didn't know about my rights. I didn't know anything. So, that is one thing also, fathers, try and figure out what your rights are, because I missed a lot of time because I didn't know my rights. And not until my sister said, it's against the law for you to not know where your children are, did I really start picking up the ball and running with that. So, I could get more into that, but I think I'm going to save that for a different podcast, and we're going to go ahead and move on to our next segment. I'm going to take a quick, fast break, and when I come back, I'll be here with relationship goals. Okay? All right, folks, welcome back to the podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for staying with us. I know it's kind of long, and my producer told me that most people listen for about a half an hour, and I was starting at half an hour, but most of my podcasts are ending up about an hour now. So if you guys are sitting around listening to me, please, give me some feedback. If I'm rambling too long, my dog is in the background. If you hear some change, that's my dog. I got nobody tied up over there in the corner, but if you guys got any feedback, I would love the feedback, man. I really would love it. So if you're listening, if you're out there, if you're a fan, if you're not a fan, let me know what I can do to make you a fan, or I can do to make you a better fan, or a more loyal fan, or, whatever it is that's going to get you to listen more. I want you guys to listen because, I know that some people probably suffer through some of the same things that I suffer. And like I said, I'm always available. If you want to drop a note in my DMs, you're more than welcome to do that as well. So, yeah. This week on relationship goals. So this week on relationship goals is this. I know last week, last week was what it was, but this week is actually very important because me and my wife and I, like I said, we just recently got married, but my wife, her father has passed. And, my father has not. So, I have encouraged my wife to embrace my father, and my father has, and she absolutely has. They are, they're going to be okay. She respects him. He respects and loves her to death. He thinks that she's totally good for me, and I think the same thing. But we don't see my dad very often. My dad actually lives in the same town that my son lives in, but I don't live close, so I don't see them very often. But I think those things are going to change, especially after this Father's Day, especially after COVID and everything, man. My son just got over COVID. I had COVID twice. My brother, it's time to let the people in your life know that they are valued by you. Especially, your fathers, man. Everybody always, you're going to tell your mother regardless, but fathers don't always hear it. Fathers don't always get the gratitude that mothers get. They don't always get the airplay that mothers get. You know what I'm saying? Not to take anything from mothers, because there's some phenomenal mothers out there, and regardless of what kind of relationship I have with the mother of my children, one thing I will say is both of them have been good mothers to my children. You know what I'm saying? Can't take it away from them. So, but this week's relationship goal is this. For my wife and I, and maybe, and I'm going to go ahead and couple my kids in on this also, for us to get to kind of build a better relationship with my dad. He's getting a little older, and, I love my dad. Like I said, my dad is my first superhero. He was my first Superman. You could say anything. The Incredible Hulk, Batman, Spider-Man, Superman. My dad could beat all these motherfuckers at the same time. That was my dad to me, and it's still like that to this day. So I want to take it back. I want to take it straight on back. To where my dad did crazy. He did great things. He was a school teacher. He did great things. He used to come home sometimes, dead tired from school, man. And but every time he came home, we jumped on him and we loved on him, and we just loved on him. And he would pull out his little guitar and he would sing to us, and we were all kids and we loved him, man. It was great, But then him and my mom split up, and a lot of crazy things started happening, and my father changed, and a lot of things changed in him. But he never gave up. He persevered. There was times that we lived in the house, we didn't have no electricity, in the middle of the winter, but he stuck to it. He bought us a house and paid for it. My father's the man. You know what I'm saying? He made sure that we were all educated. You know, and it's my pleasure, you know, to honor my father, you know, this year on Father's Day. So this week's relationship goals is to get refamiliarized or reacquainted with my dad. So, and I think that will also help our marriage because my dad is very, very knowledgeable. You know, he got married after him and my mother split up. He did get married again, and they are currently married now to my wonderful stepmother, who I also call Mom. And I do love you as well. And wait till Mother's Day. I will redeem myself. But I think, folks, that is going to do it for today's podcast. I would like to thank you all for listening and tuning into my podcast every week, especially the people who are repeat listeners. Hopefully I'm getting better. I mean, hopefully I'm talking about things that everybody wants to hear, at least some people. But I do want to thank you guys for tuning in. I want to thank my guests. I want to thank my stepdaughter, my beautiful stepdaughter, Annalise Taylor. I would like to thank my wonderful, handsome son, Michael Xavier Harris, and, of course, my beautiful wife, Yvonne Harris, for joining me on this week's podcast. I would also like to thank my best friend and my producer for making my podcast possible to bring it to the rest of you. If you would like, you can follow me on Twitter at Deron Harris. That is at Deron Harris on Twitter. On Facebook, it is Deron Teray Harris, T-E-R-A-E Harris. And on Instagram, it is Deron T. Harris, comedian. So you guys are more than welcome to follow me. Again, thank you very much for tuning in. I love you all, and I'll talk to you next week.